Hello everybody, welcome to my first video on this channel. This is going to be like a Team Fortress 2 channel, and so far I'm going to be showcasing cool game modes like this. This is a bit of a hard mode for Team Fortress 2. It's single player. You can get it in the download link in the description, and there's like a Steam forum thread for you to check it out, see updates, see features. But as you can see, here's a map. It's just setting up in a moment, and I am playing as the Demo Man with the default pipe, default sticky, and the Ullable Caber. Because, you know, why not? It's fun. Although later in the video, in the second game mode, I use the Headless Horseman's thing, because with the 4 heads I can do more damage and I can move faster, so, you know, it just makes sense. So what this is there is a point in the middle which you have to defend from an onslaught of bots. The bots start easy and it starts with just 2, but they quickly get hard, and it's quite overwhelming. And even with all these buffs, it can get quite hard. I don't actually win in either of the gameplays I have here. Now, there are 5 modes, but the main ones is offensive and defensive. Right now I'm playing defensive. In defensive you get buffs like mini crits, bonus health when you kill an enemy, and some speed. They're all defensive buffs, and they're used to design to increase your survivability. So it may be nice on classes that aren't as beefy, and they'd be very nice on high DPS dealing classes because they'd be able to get all their health back. But if you pick offensive mode, then you do get less health back, but you do critical hits on everything, which can be very powerful, although you do take more damage. Now, there is a few things to point out, like, as this game gets harder, you may think, oh, bots, oh, that's easy, but you're going to go up against, like, 15 hard mode bots. The snipers basically have aim bots that never miss. Like, the pyros reflect every projectile you have, and it just gets very overwhelming as they all rush to the point. As you can see, in this mode, I lose very suddenly, because they all just boom rush the point. The point's got ×8 on it, and I can't even get there fast enough before it's captured. I didn't even see it coming, and I couldn't do anything to stop it, which is unfortunate. But I think I do a little better in offensive mode. Now, depending on the class, I find some of the modes are a bit easier, and some of them aren't as easy. Demo Man's pretty much the best all around, because, you know, heavy, play a lot of heavy. Heavy is the class I play in competitive. But, of course, it leaves you a bit less versatile than Demo Man. As you can see, I move around a lot. I get around, I shoot things. I'm always on the move. I'm never stood still, because if I'm stood still, that leaves me as a completely dead target, which could result in either getting like shot by a sniper or just blown to bits by anything really. Because like especially the scouts and in harder modes, standing still is just your worst nightmare. As you can see, that pyro did there just did quite a bit of damage to me. I found that pyros are really dangerous in this mode because, of course, all enemies do the same amount of damage, but the difference is, with bots, they have a much worse aim. So pyros, they don't really need to aim, so bot pyros don't have much of a problem dealing a large DPS, and especially on harder modes where they just keep their fire on you permanently, and it's pretty devastating. Because I tried to melee a pyro for my own stupidity at one point, and my health went right from like 400 or 300 overbuffed to around 90, which was a bad part on my part, like a bad thing on my part, but I still did pretty good. There are also spies in this mode and engineers who will build sentries. Use my Ullable Caber there, why not? I did a lot of damage to myself, so I don't really think that's worth it though. But it's a gimmick weapon, it was fun. A heavy right there, I didn't even see him. So this is quite a fun game mode. I really do recommend it. It's not too hard to download and use. You just got to download maps, put them in your map files, and then when you load up the console, like when you load up TF2, you go in the console and you type in map and then the map name. So that would be map HMOP challenge V2. This is in version 2. I look forward to whatever ideas they got, like man versus machine, I think what it's going to be called or something, but I look forward to like a multiplayer version. I don't think game modes like this. Team Fortress 2 has always been like a multiplayer thing, but with today's like growing FPS society, or whatever you want to call it, community, there are more and more game modes. There are more new things like the survival and all that. So I think it's time that Team Fortress 2 threw in a few cool game modes. You know, they've got payload and they've got all the capture the flags and Highlander, all that, but to be fair, those are all, they're not really that unique. They're just what you expect from an FPS game. It's like team deathmatch and deathmatch, really. Of course, Team Fortress 2 don't have those kind of game modes, but they're the examples. As you can see, the bots overwhelmed me massively at that point. But I think it's about time that Team Fortress 2 threw in some interesting game modes. I mean, what they've got now is nice, and I really do love Team Fortress 2, don't get me wrong, but with all the crazy ideas and weapons they have, I'd like to see some more crazy ideas and game modes. And this game mode here, which was of course is a custom game mode that you download, it would be perfect if Valve implemented something like this, because simply it is incredibly fun. I could play this for hours, and if they threw in a multiplayer feature of this, I'd have a lot of fun, because like, well, basically it's really good, but it's still lots of room for improvement, and currently there's like one guy making it, and of course it's a bit too much for the poor guy, because this could use lots of maps, lots of different variations in game modes. Like, for example, the capture point, I think I'd prefer it without the capture point. And the map, it's rather dull and generic. I'd like some customized maps, like a Dust Bowl themed map, or some bigger maps, like, and some different ideas, like you've got to stop them advancing from a certain point, and it's like a bit like tower defense almost, but in Team Fortress 2. That'd be pretty cool. Maybe one that's a bit like Dota, in the aspect that you've got crappy minion bots, and the enemy have crappy minion bots, and you gotta kick those crappy minion bots' ass. But yeah, and of course, every time you level, you get a cool buff or something. It's just a few ideas that I'd like to see in the game. It's no rush. I mean, Team Fortress 2 is already massive, it's already very fun. I could play this hours non-stop, and technically I've already played hours non-stop. I have over 1,000 hours playtime. But it never hurts to add a few extra game modes, add a few extra ideas and tips to the agenda. Because overall, this game is, it could expand infinitely, basically. Of course, they've got to make the right choices and decisions, and not overdo things. Like, a lot of people dislike some of the weapon updates and the trading and all that. Personally, I don't mind it, because of course you don't need to trade if you don't want to, so I don't see why people would call this game Hat Fortress because of all the trading and all the stuff overtaking the thing. Because people argue that no one plays TF2 normally anymore, people always trading and stuff. That's just not true at all. A vast majority of the servers are in fact for actual normal gameplay, and a lot of people do play it normally. I mean, there are tons of competitive leagues, there are tons of normal servers, and honestly, it's a broken argument. This game has a trading side, it's got... In fact, I see it as more of a game, I see it as a community. I have my fair share of trading, I have my fair share of gameplay, I enjoy it all, and it's vastly fun making friends and all that. Here's the point where I get my ass kicked by the pyro. But basically, Team Fortress 2 is more than a game to me. It's more than just a one-trick pony, if you know what I mean. It's just more of a community. It's like an MMO. You can do what you want, really. But yeah, people complain. People always complain. People complain about everything. I respect all opinions, though. I understand why people prefer the old TF2. TF2 has changed an incredible amount, but has it improved? I'd say it has. Back when I first bought TF2 on the Xbox, when the orange box first came out, I really loved it. I couldn't get enough of it, to be honest. And even back then, when it had like the Demo Man, when the Soldier were overpowered, the Pyro was underpowered, everyone got their ass kicked by good spies. And for then again, the most points someone got in a server was 30 back then. Looking at the scores now, you get people of 100 or 200. Things have changed so much since the day Team Fortress 2 was first released. And I hope my rambling isn't boring you, I'm just looking for things to fill in the time. But this game's evolved so much, and if anyone questions if there'll be a Team Fortress 3, I don't think there will be. I don't see why they need to make a Team Fortress 3. This game is played and loved by loads, and it just doesn't seem necessary. I mean, maybe in 10 years or so, when the game really does need updating, but I don't think that's going to happen. Valve are, well, to me, they are the greatest gaming company, gaming developers I know, and they make some remarkable games, and they've never failed to please me personally. And people may be mean to Gabe Newell and all of that, but they really are great guys, updating the games for free, giving us free things, free games, and just being generally kind. Like Left 4 Dead 2, that update's free. Team Fortress 2, the game's free and updates are free. So basically, I'm just trying to... I don't know where I'm going with this, but respect other people's opinions, yo. So, the video's wrapping up. This video is kind of random, don't you agree? Anyway, I probably won't get that many views on my first video, but I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you tune in for anything else I've got. I plan to make like a very nice heavy guide, because I do play lots of competitive, mostly medic and heavy. I play Team Fortress 2 a lot. I wouldn't say I'm the best player, and I wouldn't even say I'm like competitive league player, but I like to consider myself a good player. And well, basically I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching this far. I don't think anyone would watch this far, to be honest. I certainly wouldn't, but thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.